Okay, so in this particular lecture, we're going to talk about indefinite integration. Clear? Indefinite, indefinite integration. Okay, so what is basically integration in a very lame language form? Basically, suppose you have some function fx, and you find the first derivative of this function, which is d dx of fx, which is also written as f dash x. Okay. So now, if you want to extract this function fx from f dash x, so you apply a reverse mathematical operation, reverse to the differentiation, which is called integration, given as this particular sign. So f dash x dx is given as fx. You need to add an extra constant. The reason being ki, we know that the ddx of any constant is 0. So basically there is always a chance of some constant being there, which is in some way added to the function, because if I differentiate this complete portion, then I will be getting f dash x itself, because the constant portion, its differentiation will eventually become 0. So the integration of f dash x, or antiderivative, you can also call it this as antiderivative. Yeah. So this is the basic understanding of what indefinite integration means. Clear? Or when you have this structure fx dx. Yeah. So this fx dx, this complete structure is called an integral, and fx is called integrand. This portion is clear. Okay. Now we are going to talk about some standard integration formulas, and let me change the color of this pen. So okay, so let me move down the page. So some basic integration formulas, I am starting from here itself. The first one being integration of x to the power n dx. This is given as x to the power n plus 1 over n plus 1 plus c being a constant. Then we have integration x to the power minus 1 dx, which is given as ln x plus c. Then we have, what is ln x? Natural logarithm, log base e. Then we have integration e to the power x dx, which is given as e to the power x plus c. Then we have integration a to the power x dx, which is given as a to the power x over ln a plus c. Fifth one, we have integration sin x dx, which is given as minus cos x plus c. Sixth one, we have integration cos x dx, which is given as sin x plus c. Then we have integration sec square x, sec square x dx, which is given as tan x plus c. Then we have integration cosec square x dx, which is given as minus cot x plus c. So then we have integration sec x tan x dx, which is given as sec x plus c. Integration cosec x cot x dx, which is given as minus cosec x plus c. Clear? Then we have integration dx over root over of 1 minus x square, which is given as sin inverse x plus c. Okay. Then we have, okay, so number 12, we have integration dx over root over of, sorry, not root over, so integration dx over 1 plus x square, which is given as tan inverse x plus c. And we have integration dx over x times root over of x square minus 1, which is given as sec inverse x plus c. Okay, so these are some standard formulas. So these formulas can be calculated. You, if you don't remember, if you can't remember the formulas of these ones, where you have the variable in this algebraic form, then you have certain methods to solve these integrations, which is basically called the integration by substitution. Okay, so let us understand what is the integration by substitution very basically. So now I am assuming that you people already know integration, because this lecture is kind of a revision lecture for the competitive exam students. Okay, so substitution. Okay, so what happens is substitution is basically, suppose you have some integration, say fx dx. What you do is that, this is suppose a very complex integration. This is one is a very complex integration, and you need to simplify this integration. So what you do is that you assume a part of this function to be a variable, say z. Okay, and then you replace the differential coefficient portion, that is the dx portions, with the derivative or the differential coefficient of those of that assumed variable, and you change the integration according the functions, and under the integration accordingly the substitution of z. Okay, that actually makes the problem it is later let us understand now in what way can we use the substitution. That will be quite better to understand. Okay, let us take the problem, or let us take the formula number 12, dx over 1 plus x square. How is it? Tan inverse plus x. Clear? So basically see, number 12, so it is integration 1 over 1 plus x square dx. Okay, so what we do that, let x equals to tan z. Let x equals to tan z. Now why I have assumed x equals to tan z? Because we know 1 plus tan squared z is equals to sec squared z. So we can actually, change the denominator into a single trigonometric function. Moreover, what will be your dx? Your dx will be sec squared z dz. Now substituting these values, what do I get? So I get integration 1 over sec squared z. Here also you have sec squared z dz, right? The dx got changed into sec squared z dz, so this portion gets cancelled. What you're left with is z. Now what is z? Z is your tan inverse x, z plus c. Actually the constant must be there. Okay, so basically it is z plus c. So the z plus, what is z? Z is just tan inverse x, right? So this becomes tan inverse x plus c. That is your answer. Understood what is the method of substitution actually? You substitute the variable in such a way such that your integration becomes a bit shorthand, as well as a bit more easier to solve. Got it? Let me take some more example to understand this particular process. Okay, let me take this particular integration. Now I guess you people have already known the formulas which I have written above, because everything we are going to solve now will be using those particular formulas, the formulas of those elementary functions. Those functions are called elementary functions. The integration of those particular functions are basically used to solve the other complex integrations. Suppose we have this integration x to the power x 1 plus log x dx. Clear? How to solve this problem? So here what we will do is that we need to assume this particular function as the z, or substitute it to be z. Reason being key, when we substitute this to be z, we will get a 1 plus log x term. Let us check whether we will get it or not. I assume I should get it. Acha. So let z equals to x to the power x. Now I guess you people know how to differentiate x to the power x. So basically your dz becomes, so h to the power x becomes x to the power x minus 1 times. Okay, so basically how we solve is, let me make you the understanding how we actually solve this. So first what we do is that we assume this power to be a constant, and differentiate accordingly. We first differentiated of the form x to the power a. So how to solve x to the power a? So this becomes x to the power x to the power a minus 1 times a. So here it is x to the power x minus 1 times x. This is one part. Then we will do plus, and then what we will do is that we will take this to be a constant, that is we will integrate this by considering this of the form a to the power x. So what does this become? So this becomes x to the power x times ln x. Clear? So from here what do we get? So from here, if we take x to the power x common, what do we actually get? So taking x to the power x common, we actually get here 1 plus ln x. dx. Got it? So we get actually 1 plus ln x dx. So basically this integration gets a bit changed. This integration actually gets a bit changed. Now how does it actually get changed? So your dx is actually changed by dz directly, because whatever is there in the function we have substituted it directly. Clear? Acha, let me make you understand how can we solve this in a bigger way. This is the shortcut form of solving this. You can solve it in this way also. Let me show you. So considering y is equals to x to the power x, you may apply log on both sides. So you get ln y is equals to x ln x. Now you differentiate both sides with respect to x. So here you get dy over dx times 1 over y, and here you use the product rule, so this becomes x over x plus ln x. So from here you get dy over dx is equals to y was x to the power x, so this is x to the power x, and you here you get 1 plus ln x dx. Clear? Got it? So from here what we will get? So basically from here we can substitute this. So this becomes actually, okay, so you had considered x to the power x to be z. Clear? And what is your dz actually? So this complete form is your dz actually. Okay, and when you have considered x to the power x to be z, okay, so see what happens here is that you get this of the term z over 1 over z dz. Now what is the reason behind that? See, you get x to the power x equals to z. Clear? So you get x to the power x equals to z, and now what happens here is that, easily check this. See, in the dz portion you can take this to be z. From here what do you get? So you get dz over z is equals to 1 plus ln x dx. Now you substitute this value. You substitute this value. So what happens is that, so 1 plus ln x dx becomes dz over z, and x to the power x is your z. So these two cancel out, and you get integration dz, which is equals to your z plus c. What was z? Z was your x to the power x plus c. Got it? So this is what substitution helps you to do. Clear? I guess it's clear. Do you want me to solve some more problems to understand this concept? Okay, we will do it later on. First, let us understand the main thing. So the other factors of integration or other properties related to integration. Okay, so let us understand certain properties related to integration. Okay, properties of integration, and this is indefinite. This is indefinite. So the first thing first, integration of f1x plus minus f2x plus minus f3x. You have a number of functions, and you are integrating all, integrating the summation or the subtraction of all these particular functions together. Okay, and you have a dx over all these functions. So you have a dx over all these functions. So this can be further written like this. You can separate the integration. So this is f1x plus minus, this is f2x dx, f2x dx plus minus, and you can keep continuing it doing till the fnx. Clear? Fnx dx. Got it? Clear? Now if you have a function behind the integration, what you will be doing? If you have a constant behind the integration, what you will be doing? So suppose the third, we take the third property. Suppose you have a constant multiplied with the function of the integration you are doing. So this is basically equals to k times fx dx. As easy as that. Yeah. Now comes a very important property which is applied to all the elementary functions. That is, if you have the function of the form that the variable in the function is of the form ax plus b. Okay. So here also we actually do substitution to get the formula directly. What happens is, see, when we have studied the elementary functions concept, we already know that what will be the integration of fx dx if fx is one of the elementary functions. So basically what we can do, now we already know the method of substitution. So if we substitute ax plus b with z, then we will get dz equals to a. Clear? We will get dz equals to a, and with along that you have dx. Okay, for this x, so basically your dx becomes dz over a, and the function becomes fz dz. So this becomes the integration actually becomes fz dz, and here you have the constant outside. Now what is the integration fz dz? This is a known integration because f here actually is an elementary function, or rather this is the actual method of substitution. Okay, now I guess you have understood what the substitution is. You substitute the variable in such a way so that you can bring it down to to such a particular structure where we can use the elementary function methods to solve the problem. I guess you people got it. Now there are a number of methods to solve integrations, and substitution is one of them. So I guess you people have already understood the substitution method. I will show you some more properties that to use what sort of substitution. Before that, let us understand the other parts. Okay. So one of the more important parts to solve indefinite integration is integration by parts. Okay. What is integration of by parts? Basically, if you have an integration of the form u times v dx, where u and v both are functions of x itself, then you have two the product of functions, then how to solve this particular problem, or how to solve this, or rather how to solve this particular integration. So here basically is a rule which is called a Lyot rule. Okay, it's called a Lyot rule. So what is the Lyot rule actually says? So this is your log, this is your inverse, this is algebra, this is trigonometric or algebraic rather, this is trigonometric, and this is exponential. Now what is this Lyot rule? So basically, if you have this function uv dx, okay, so the basic rule says that you need to separate them along this particular rule. That is, if you have logarithm, then you need to set u as the logarithm function, and v as the function which is next to preference to logarithm. Clear? This is the basic rule. That is basically what I am trying to say is that the integration by parts actually differentiates this into u times integration v dx minus integration of du over dx times dv, sorry times integration times integration v dx again, and this whole integration. So this is basically the integration by parts method. Okay. I need to write it in a slanting way because of the recorder being set up as a pop-up screen of above. That's why. Clear. So this is the basic method of the basic formula for the integration by parts. Got it. Now there is a choice that how to set u, which function to set u and which function to set as v. Got it. So basically here, you have a preference order. That is, if the product of functions, you have a logarithmic function and an algebraic function, then set u as the logarithmic function and v as the algebraic function. Okay, this is what the rule says. Now, when you will be solving the integration by parts, I will always ask you people to set your own preference order. In what way? That check which function can be integrated easily, and differentiation you already know of almost every function, I guess so. So check which function can be integrated quite easily. For example, if you have say integration e to the power x sin x dx, suppose this is the function you have. Okay. Now e to the power x can also be integrated quite easily. Okay, let me do it in a more preferential way that will help you understand the problem. Okay. Suppose you have integration x ln x dx. Okay, you have integration x ln x dx. Now you know that you can integrate x quite easily, but integrating ln x is not that easy. So what you will do is that you will set u as ln x and v as x. Now integration by parts can be solved in a more systematic way rather than memorizing this particular formula. And I will ask you to do the integration by parts method using this particular method. It will be quite easier to do. So write these two things. D means differentiation and I means integration. Okay. Under differentiation, write the u function, that is here ln x. Under integration, write the v function, that is x. Now differentiate d. So this becomes 1 over x and this becomes x square over 2. Give the signs alternatingly starting with positive sign. So this is plus, this is minus. Now what you will be doing that this particular, from here you can write the integration by parts directly. So the first element of the integrational answer will be cross multiplication of these two values. So this becomes x square over 2 ln x. Here you have minus sign, so minus integration of this times this. So this becomes integration of x over 2 dx. So this is basically given as x square over 2 ln x minus 1 over 2 integration x dx, which is x square over 2 ln x minus x square over 4 plus c. I guess this portion is pretty clear. Got it? Clear? So this is the more systematic way of solving the integration by parts. It will take you less time to find the answer rather than writing the formula. Got it? This is what the integration of parts is. Now understanding the substitution case, that where what substitution is actually needed. So I'm giving you the chart of that. So specific substitution. Specific substitution. Okay. So if you have the function f of phi x times phi dash x dx, this sort of an integration, then you can just easily substitute phi x with z, because when you will differentiate both sides you will get dz as phi dash x dx. So this complete portion gets diminished to dz and this gives you fz. So basically this integration got converted to fz dz. So you can now solve it using the elementary function. Got it? This portion is clear. Now suppose you have the integration. Carefully understand these things. Phi dash x over phi x dx. Just take phi, the denominator, as the substitution. So let z is equals to phi x. Okay. Then dz will become phi dash x dx. Phi dash x dx. Then the complete numerator portion will get diminished to dz. So basically from here you can write it as, this becomes your dz over z, which is ln z dz. So which can be written as ln of mod sine phi x dx. This formula you can directly use also. Okay. Integration of phi dash x over phi x dx, this can be used as directly as the formula ln phi x over dx also. Clear? Got it? Clear? Okay. Now under trigonometric substitution, these substitutions are very important because these substitutions are sometimes very confusing. So specific substitution of trig functions. Suppose you have integration sin px and cos 2n minus x dx, where n belongs to natural numbers. That is basically, you have the power of cos as an odd number. The power of cos is an odd number. So what you will be doing here is that you will be assuming sin, or you will be substituting sin x will z. Okay. So you will be here substituting. So substitute sin x with z. Clear? When you have a integration of this type of integration where you have product of sine and cos multiplied together. So if the power of cos is odd, take substitute sine with z, and the inverse also is true. That is, if you have this as the method of 2n minus 1 x cos px dx, where the power of sine x is an odd power, then you will do what? You will take substitute cos x with z. Clear? Now if you have the integration, suppose of the form sin px cos qx dx, where p plus q is basically a negative even integer. P plus q is a negative even integer. Clear? Sin px and cos qx dx you are getting, and p plus q gives you a negative even integer. Then what you will be doing is that we will be substituting tan x with z. You will be substituting tan x with z, and you will be trying to bring the function in terms of tan. You will be trying to bring the function in terms of tan, which will be easily accessible at that point of moment where the sum of the powers will give a negative integer, and then you are very much easily done with your answer. Clear? Suppose suppose you have a particular integration of the form, say integration f of x and a square minus x square dx. Acha, what is this sort of a function representing? So you are having basically two types of terms. One type of term in the function is basically of this particular type, root over a square minus x square. Suppose you have say 1 over root over of a square minus x square, or x over root over of a square minus x square. Getting it? So basically you are basically having two types of elements in the particular function, root over a square minus x square or x and x. What you will be doing here is that you will be assuming x equals to a sine theta. You are done with your answer. For example, if you have a function of this type, so assuming x equals to a sine theta will change the integration into, so a sine theta, its dx will become a cos theta, denominator will become, so the a will come out, and 1 minus sine square theta will give you cos theta. So they will eventually cancel out to give you, and a cos theta d theta here is now, so this becomes theta plus c. What is theta? Theta is sine inverse of x over a plus c. Clear? Got it? These things is basically will make the problem easier. Got it? Similarly, if you have a function with the term root over of x square minus a square dx, then you assume x equals to a sec theta, or you can also use a cosec theta. Sec theta is more conventional. Here also, in the above example, you are told to assume x equals to a sine theta. You can also take x equals to a cos theta. You can also take x equals to a cos theta. Complementary functions they are, but still assuming a sine theta is conventional. There is no problem if you take x equals to a cos theta. Ultimately, your answer will be the same case. Clear? So here take a sec theta. Reason being ki, you can get a single trigonometric function when you have put x equals to a cos theta in this term here, because a square comes out to become a, and sec square theta minus 1 gives you tan square theta. Root over of tan square theta becomes tan theta. Clear? Same with a cosec theta, you will get there cot theta. Clear? Similarly, if you have an integration fx, and there is a term of the form root over of x square plus a square, there is a plus sign, x square plus a square. So here what you can do is that you substitute x with a tan theta, or a cot theta can also will also do the job, a cot theta. Clear? So a cot theta, a will come out, and tan square theta plus 1 will give you sec square theta. Root over of sec square theta will give you sec theta. So they are eventually getting diminished to a single trigonometric function. And the last important substitution which you actually need, important one, if you have two of these terms, a square minus x square and a square plus x square in the function. If you have this sort of a term, sorry, my s. If you have this sort of a term, what will happen is that you need to assume here, so substitute here x square with a square cos 2 theta, and you are done with your case. Assuming x square equals to a square cos 2 theta will do your job. Clear? So these are some important substitutions you require. And lastly, I will be finishing this lecture with an important result of integration, which is given as integration of e to the power x fx plus f dash x. The answer to this particular, these types of integration will be simply e to the power x fx dx. The reason being is that, sorry, not fx dx, fx plus c. The reason behind is that integration by parts. If you integrate this by parts, so what you will be getting is that, see, I can do it very much easily. So ti, you take e to the power x, you get fx here. So sorry, let me take the inverse one. Okay, so let me take here fx and here e to the power x. So integration is e to the power x, this is f dash x. You know, cross multiplying these, what do you get? So here you have plus, here you have minus. Clear? So integrating these, what you get? So you actually get here e to the power x fx, and here you get minus e to the power x f dash x dx. Clear? Now what is this? This is the integration to this. This is the integration to this. Clear? But here what we are doing is we are actually doing the inverse of this integration. Okay. Oh, rather you can do the differentiation of this and you will be getting this. Oh, it was my fault that I did integration. I got a little bit confused. I'm so sorry. So e to the power x fx, you can easily differentiate it to find the thing. So e to the power x fx, product rule, it becomes f dash x, and e to the power x, you take e to the power x common and you get fx plus f dash x. Clear? I'm sorry, I just got a little bit confused. Okay, so this was the basic of this particular lecture. I hope you like the video and I hope it is important to you guys. The next lecture I might be talking about some important integrations of rational and irrational functions along with some important topics of definite integration. So meet you guys in the next lecture.